Irgc Commander-in-Chief Major General Hussein Salami claims that the collapse of the United States has started, and therefore its ability to support Israel has come to an end. Iran and the European Union announced that the resumption of nuclear negotiations in Vienna has been scheduled for November 29th. EU members of parliament visiting Israel voiced their shock over Iran's hate-rooted determination against Israel. The Islamic Republic of Iran marked the 42nd anniversary of the hostile takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran this morning, with thousands of Iranian supporters of the regime proclaiming their unwavering allegiance to the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and their determination to bring about the demise of both Israel and the United States. Addressing the Iranian crowd, commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, Major General Hussein Salami, insisted that the era of the U.S. collapse has commenced, while therefore claiming that Washington's weakening stance has brought about a reality in which the Americans can no longer support the Zionist regime in reference to the State of Israel.
به قدرت آمریکا از بین رفته است. آمریکایی‌ها حتی دیگر نمی‌توانند، نه اینکه نمی‌خواهند، نمی‌توانند از رژیم صهیونیستی حمایت کنند.
The RGC commander further claimed that the U.S. is used to defeats at the hands of the Iranian nation, but has yet to comprehend the lessons in full. One such defeat, General Salami continued, included a maneuver by the RGC Navy in which it claimed to have intercepted U.S. Navy vessels at a time when they, per the RGC version, attempted to seize 2 Iranian oil tankers in the Gulf of Oman.
نفت ما را به سرقت ببرند و ما بر اساس سناریوی دقیق تشخیص دادیم که اگر این کشتی را تصرف کنیم آمریکایی ها مداخله خواهند کرد. این پیش بینی شده بود. بچه های ما همه احتمالات را سنجیده بودند.
Responding to the RGC, Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby referred to the Iranian claims as sheer bogus.
Yeah, I've seen the Iranian claims. They are absolutely, totally false and untrue. There was no such effort by U.S. naval assets to seize anything. What this refers to is back on the 24th of October, U.S. Navy assets did monitor Iranian forces illegally boarding and seizing a merchant vessel in international waters in the Gulf of Oman. The United States Fifth Fleet directed 2 ships and aerial assets to closely monitor that situation. At no time were U.S. forces attempting to retake or otherwise engage in the situation. We acted completely in accordance with the law. So it's a both.
The Pentagon press secretary went on to assert, in response to a follow-up question by a reporter, that the reality on the ground actually pertains to an attempted takeover by the RGC of a commercial tanker that does not belong to Iran.
I not only don't confirm it, it's a ridiculous claim. It's absolutely not true. And I would add that Iran's actions, the ones that are true, of them illegally boarding and seizing a merchant vessel, constitute a blatant violation of international law that undermines freedom of navigation and the free flow of commerce.
Do you know that
the only seizing that was done was...
Kirby was subsequently pressed by another reporter as to why did the United States wait for this long to announce its version of the purported incident.
There was no waiting, Fadi. We were monitoring. We monitor a lot of activity in that part of the world. It was not about waiting. We are reacting to false claims that the Iranians made today. So if you're asking me why am I talking about this today, because you're asking me about it today, because the Iranians lied about it today.
Meanwhile, in other yet related news, Iranian chief nuclear negotiator Deputy Foreign Minister Bagheri Kani announced that following a phone conversation with EU political director Enrique Mora, the two agreed to restart the nuclear negotiations in Vienna on November the 29th. Subsequently, the European Union published a statement of its own confirming that the Joint Commission of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA, will convene in a physical format on the 29th of November in Vienna. The statement further added that the forum will be attended by representatives of China, France, Germany, Russia, the United Kingdom, and Iran, who will continue the discussions on the prospect of a possible return of the United States to the JCPOA and how to ensure the full and effective implementation of the agreement by all sides. In response to a question on the announced resumption of the diplomatic track by month end, State Department spokesman Ned Price stated that U.S. Special Envoy for Iran, Robert Malley, will represent the Biden administration at the talks.
Well, we understand that the European External Action Service, of course, has been coordinating with the Iranians on their stated intent to resume negotiations before the end of this month. This appears to have just taken place. But we do welcome the EU's announcement that they have coordinated with all participants and that talks on a mutual return to compliance with the JCPOA will resume for a seventh round on Monday, November 29th. Special Envoy Malley will again lead U.S. participation in these talks. We've said this many times before, but we believe it remains possible to quickly reach and implement an understanding on a mutual return to compliance with the JCPOA by closing the relatively small number of issues that remained outstanding at the end of June when the sixth round concluded. We believe that if the Iranians are serious, we can manage to do that in relatively short order. But we've also been clear, including as this pause has dragged on for some time, that this window of opportunity will not be open forever, and that especially if Iran continues to take provocative nuclear steps.
Price continued by further reiterating a warning that unless the Iranians fall in line in the near future, the nuclear-related progress the Islamic Republic is rapidly making may render the 2015 nuclear deal outdated.
At some point, the advancements Iran has made, the know-how that Iran has garnered throughout this process will make a return to the JCPOA as it was written and finalized in 2015 and implemented in 2016. Not worth it as a proposition for the United States and our partners. We are not there yet. Rob has made the point, as you pointed out, that these are assessments based on our understanding of a number of factors. Our understanding of what the Iranians have been doing in the interim, our understanding of what the so-called breakout time may be, that is to say, the time it would take Iran to produce the fissile material needed for a nuclear weapon if they chose to pursue one.
Asked about Washington's classification of the point in which it would deem the agreement obsolete, Price said the following.
We are continuing with our partners in the P5+1, with our allies and partners in the Middle East and beyond, to compare notes on Iran's status, on Iran's progress, and we will make a determination based on what is in our national interests and what's in the national security interests of our allies.
Turning to northern Israel, where a delegation of 12 members of the European Parliament toured the country's northern front, including inside a cross-border subterranean passageway, which the Iranian proxy Hezbollah dug from Lebanon into Israel. Touring the tunnels seemingly shocked the European MPs, whose first-hand experience highlighted to them the dangers posed by Iran's proxy Hezbollah to Israel's northern front.
I mean, it becomes so more visible when you're here, when you're experiencing the closeness to the border that is actually the border to Iran. and also the fact that the structure, the patience to dig through everything, to try to come and promote terror attacks in that way. And also it's really upsetting to see where our money is going.
I felt a strong emotion because, of course, we hear about the tunnels in the news, we read about them in the paper, but seeing it in reality like this is is really making it very concrete. So I was shocked to see how much patience people can invest in hate, how much money, how much energy in hating someone else's country to be willing to come in like this. So it really shocked me.